Hey, so I wanted to share some questions that can help you maybe step out of your normal perception a little bit and try to go into the deeper aspect of you. And you don't want to answer these questions like with the mind necessarily. Well, the mind will try to answer them, but you can just be like, okay, but then just like keep asking it because the mind's answer is not the true answer. So, some questions. Who were you before you were born? What happened when you die? Who is it that dies? Where do you go when you sleep? What is a continuity of when you were a child until now? Because the body actually changes its cells. I think every year your cells are completely different than the year before. So your physical matter is not actually the same as it was. So what is that continuity? And if all of this is a dream, including you and your mind and your body as part of the dream, then who is the dreamer? Where is the mind? Try to find the mind. Can't find it. And who is the one that is breathing? The mind might say, I'm breathing, but you can consciously breathe, but then who is breathing when you're not consciously breathing? So this idea of asking these questions was something from the book Wake Up Now, because he was saying there's a difference between sitting in silence and sitting as the silence. So a lot of my awakening experiences I think have been like partial awakenings, because I'll be sitting in the silence. So I'm aware that there is more to me and to this universe than like just me. But I haven't had like a full-blown awakening where I realized that I am the silence kind of thing. I had it like super briefly. I think I've had like partial instances of like pulling back the curtain a little bit and then being like, no, close it, because the ego freaks out, because basically the ego like doesn't really exist. It's a part of the dream, so it's really scary for the ego to realize that it doesn't exist. And this is why we resist the awakening, or that's why I've been resisting it. It's uncomfortable to realize that like how you've lived your whole life is like not actually real. But then if you're thinking like, oh, I want to have an awakening, it's like the ego says that, right? But then once you like partially have it, the ego's like, no, I don't want this anymore. So it's kind of funny. It's funny that the ego is the one that wants it, but then it doesn't want its own annihilation. So anyway, if you're feeling like, I don't know, like inferior to other people in any way on like the spiritual path or whatever, realize that it's just spiritual ego. Like, it's not true, because the source of all that is not like judging who has had an awakening and like who hasn't. That's all just the ego trying to be big and important and whatever, but you actually like don't have to prove anything to anyone, because you already are everything. So the spiritual ego is like really challenging to even notice in the first place, because you think that you're thinking all these spiritual things, but it's concepts, you know. And nothing wrong with that. I think the spiritual ego is like kind of an unavoidable step between like normal ego and then like living from like a state of knowing the truth of everything to the extent of like where you're at. Because I don't know that you ever know everything, but you're just trying to embody what it is that you're aware of at this time to the best of your ability. So I just want to share some of those questions. It's sort of interesting. It can kind of like make you realize how little you know, because that's part of it. Is like whenever you think you know stuff, you actually don't. That's the ego saying that knows stuff. Like if you ask like, what is life? And then you have the answer like, oh, it's consciousness. But like, that's a concept. I think the closer you are to saying I have no freaking clue what the heck going on here, who I am, where I came from, what this place is, like what the heck is this place and how did I get here, like that's how you're actually getting closer to some kind of truth, when you actually just say like, I have no idea. Like, how does the sun and the moon work? Like, how does, I mean, science gives us answers, but to me that's not, it's not satisfactory. How did I get here? Like, I don't even know how I got here. There's so much. What happens when you sleep? I have no clue. I have no idea what's going on. So the more that we're able to just say I have no freaking clue, which is what the ego doesn't want to do, that's how we can like kind of open ourselves up more to having a closer grasp of reality, which is that like we really don't know a lot of what's going on. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts about this, and thanks for watching.